Am I the only football fan on the planet who chose not to watch the 2022 World Cup? It feels a bit lonely, but worth it. A clear disclaimer first. I'm no bleeding heart, tree-hugging woke activist, and I have no problem with everyone else, including my own friends and colleagues, enjoying and celebrating what was purportedly one of the most exciting tournaments in the history of the beautiful game. That was their choice. This was mine. But for me, personally, it just did not feel right watching this World Cup. For me, and again I say for me, it would have been like dancing on the graves of thousands of migrant workers. You know, those poor nameless souls from South Asia who lost kidneys and lives building the stadiums and massive infrastructure to enable Qatar's ambition of hosting the world's biggest sporting event. Yeah, you've heard it all before. I mean, how could you not have, given the blanket mainstream media coverage of the plight of these downtrodden beasts of burden in the lead up to the World Cup? The thing about the media glare, though, is its intrinsic fickleness, its mosquito-sized attention span, and its propensity to be lured away by the slightest distraction, the next shiny object. This was pretty much Qatar's counter to all the critics. Just wait until the first goal is scored. They'll all shut up, and any remaining little bleating sounds about migrant workers will be drowned by the crowds cheering on their teams. I must say that mantra worked like a charm, but not on me. I did not watch a single game, much as I would have loved to. See, most of those who died in Qatar were from India, Nepal, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka. That's a part of the world I grew up in, and whose people are real to me. I've seen firsthand their slow desperation back home, their grinding poverty, their downward mobility, and their heartbreaking humanity. Husbands, brothers, and sons set out from destitute towns and villages to support their families by building gleaming towers for rich people in far-off desert lands. Their stories are real to me. Their testimony about horrific working conditions in hellish heat, being treated like animals by employers, being abused, intimidated, exploited, denied compensation for slave labor, deprived of drinking water, all real. So what have I achieved by not watching the World Cup in protest? Nothing much, I suppose, if achieving something means bringing justice to the victims and their families or holding anyone accountable. This personal boycott of mine is just a drop in the ocean, and it won't create even a ripple to challenge the tidal wave of success that Qatar is currently celebrating. But that's not the point. It's about being repulsed by the vulgarity of crass consumerism, the power of money to silence anything and everything. I may be just a voice in the wilderness, but I'm still putting this out there for the record to hopefully resonate with those of you who still care. Some of us have not forgotten the human sacrifice of countless migrant workers who spilled their blood, sweat, and tears in the sand to build the modern-day pyramids that housed and hosted this World Cup. Some of us remember and will not let the world forget.